elderly are aging. What 4 things do we need to know so that we can care for elderly better? Does it sound confusing or is pretty clear? 4 things to make that care better? Yeah, elderly are aging and we are an aging population. You know, by 2050, there'll be 3.1 billion or more seniors in the world. And by 2030, the number of seniors would have exceeded number of millennials. So watch out, millennials. We are coming. The elderly are coming. So anyways, what 4 things do we need in order to care for the elderly better? Number 1, function. Function of thought, your function of action, your function of reaction, function of everything. Make sure the function is correct. It's not just your thought, but it's also the motion, the function, the functionality behind it, okay? Number 2, most important, is that listen. The art of listening is equal to the art of science. And listening is an art and science in both. Elderly need to be heard and more so listened to. Most people think elderly can't speak or they don't know what they're talking about, or it doesn't make sense because they're cognitively challenged or physically or whatever. But they do. You have to listen to them. As a geriatrician for such a long time and decades, I have learned so much that because of listening, I actually have outgrown all my educational credentials I've got. I don't have one. I've got many, many credentials. But the most important credential I have is that I'm happy that the elderly help me understand the value of listening. And I do make mistakes. You know, everybody makes mistakes and they want to be heard and not, they don't want to listen to others, but they want to be listened to. But in the end, for elderly especially, patience is really important and listening is an art. Please do that. The third most important thing is bias. Don't come to an elderly or look at your grandma in a different way just because you watched a video, a YouTube or something. Look at your grandma as a human first. Your grandma is a human first. Your elderly is a human first. And everybody's not the same. You know, there's personality disorders, personality changes, everything in the world. But elderly are elderly, and unless we look at them correctly and we are not biased, then of course we can help them. But being biased is not okay. Because being biased, you actually can harm more than, save lives. So saving lives comes from being unbiased. Let's make that clear for the elderly and for anyone in this world. The fourth and last thing to remember in this is that elderly have a voice and need a voice. So don't make decisions without the elderly in the meeting or in that group or whatever. I've seen so many times as a geriatrician that, people are making assumptions. Oh, my grandma wants this and I want this by my mom and blah, blah, and all that stuff. But that's not right. The elderly was never asked. Unfortunately, their opinions never mattered. So try to open that and make sure that you include the elderly in this process. Didn't they include you when you were a kid? They did. And they gave you so many opportunities. So it's time to give back to our elderly. And that's what's important in the world. An elderly could be not just your parent or grandparent, but I will say every elderly in the world. Yeah, so no bias, open, happy, function. And most important, these rules apply to leadership in elderly care. So that's very important, and I hope this is pretty easy to understand. And I'm sure you'll have lots of questions for me, but I'm here for you, and Mihygge is here for you. So thank you so much for your time, and yeah, we'll take it from there. In the next video, I'll show you another view of the park. It's probably more prettier than this one. So, and the drone has now gone away. So thank you and have a great day. And stay hydrated. Soda is fine, juices are fine, but water is the most important hydrating tool in this world. Without water, you can't survive more than 7 days. Without technology, you can. Without food, you could do 30 days max. But without water, even the animals, birds, plants, everyone. So take care this summer day, and hope we'll see you in another YouTube video soon. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.